been in a bunch of these with the Gamecocks. What does this all mean to you, and how much does that keeping that streak going mean to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Swinney, before we play him every year, he says it's a season of its own, and it truly is. I've never lost to Carolina, so that's something, growing up a Clemson fan, that's something, I want to keep going for, even when I'm not here, as long as possible, for sure.
I'm guessing that you know lots and lots of people, and even maybe some family members who are Gamecock fans as well. How do you deal with the back and forth? Does it come up all the time?
Yeah, I definitely grew up with, some of my closest friends being Carolina fans, and people I went to church with, different things like that. So, I think it's just a lot of fun, to have some smack talk back and forth. But at the end of the day, my main goal is to win, and however we do that, I'll be fine with it. So.
Jordan, what do you think of their defensive line from your tape study, and do they remind you of any team that you've played defensive line-wise?
They're athletic, and kind of big up front. Zach Pickens is a baller, and Jordan Branch as well. Like, those guys are ballers, and definitely gonna have to, be prepared and ready to go for them. I'm not really sure necessarily if they kind of, remind me of kind of any defensive line we played, but those guys are dangerous, when they want to be. So, we got to show up, ready to go, against those guys.
Speaking of dangerous when they want to be, were you surprised at all by the Tennessee result Saturday night?
I want to say, as transparent as possible, I was a little bit surprised, but, as we know it now, that's just college football for you, so, anything can happen on any given day, and that's kind of what Coach Swinney, has been preaching to us, and, you see it around the country every year, so, I think our main goal is not to not let that be us, so.
Because does that serve as a reminder in terms of not underestimating them, or just because it's South Carolina you wouldn't need that?
Yeah, I think, for me, being here so long and growing up in South Carolina, like, I don't need that kind of motivation. It's just, it's South Carolina, and, you want to play your best against them. And maybe for some of the younger guys who, haven't been here long or don't really understand, what this rivalry means to people, they might need that reminder. But, being an older guy who's from here, I don't really need, that extra kind of motivation, Like, I understand how big this game is and how much it matters to so many people. So.
I think it was Phil maybe was telling us that Coach Swinney goes through a whole talk about like what South Carolina rivalry means. What does all that entail?
Yeah, he definitely does, and just he kind of takes us back a little bit in time when Clemson was on the losing end of that streak, and kind of what it felt like, and it's like you can play as good as you want all season, but if you lose this game, it doesn't really matter as much. So, our biggest focus, is just to, get this win. Obviously, it's South Carolina, but they're in our way to kind of what we want to do as a team. So, that's enough motivation for itself.
Jordan, DJ is your leader on offense. How has he kind of handled the ebbs and flows of playing really well, getting benched a couple times, coming back, playing well? How has he kind of handled that?
Yeah, I can honestly say he hasn't changed at all. Like, even when he's, playing, his best football, he's the same person. Or maybe when he's not playing as good that day and they give Cade a shot, like, he's that same guy. He's supportive of Cade and, the whole offense. And, he wants to see the offense and the team, succeed whether he is in there or not, And as a leader, as a quarterback of the team, like, that's tough. Maybe to watch the offense when you're not leading the show or you're not in there. But, that speaks of, what kind of guy he is to maybe, to understand that he's not playing necessarily his best, but to, still be supportive and lead each day. Like, that tells you a lot about it, what kind of guy he is.
Does it say something, too, about how he can get a lot of criticism from the outside, and yet he seems to be that same guy who just bounces back and, and just plays well?
Yeah, it just, like, he's one of the best teammates I've ever played with. Year in and year out, last year, this year, whatever it may be, like, whenever something goes wrong, he gets 90% or 100% of the criticism, and majority of the time it's really not his fault. If we're being honest, and you won't know that unless you're kind of in the film room, studying the plays or whatever it may be. But from the outside looking in, and it's easy to blame the quarterback. So he takes a lot of what goes wrong. He takes a lot of that. But for him to still be supportive and want to see us succeed and not let that get to him, it speaks volume.
Jordan, what was your assessment of Mitchell May's performance on Saturday, especially coming in on such short notice with Marcus Tate going down?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like Mitchell's a guy who's been here for a while, hasn't necessarily played as much, but, when Walker was out, Mitchell came in and played well. And with Marcus getting hurt in the first quarter, Mitchell came in and played well. And that's what you want. Like, he's been begging for a shot, and he got it, and to come in and play well, and, to prepare each week, not knowing if you're going to play or not is tough. And, that I give kudos to Mitchell for preparing, not knowing if he was going to play Saturday or not. But, he came in, did what he's supposed to do, and, it's exciting to kind of see the growth, from Mitchell from when he first got here to now, for sure.
What did you see from him when he came in the huddle and it was his turn?
Yeah, I mean, I could tell in his face he was ready to go. Like he had prepared, and so we lived together, so it's kind of easy to stay on him about, making sure he's watching tape or whatever. So he takes it serious, whether it be recovery, the film room. Like, he prepares each week, as if he is a starter. So I was just knowing he was coming in. I told him, he was fine. He did it the week before. He goes against, the best guys in the country each day at practice. So just to, breathe and be confident is the biggest thing I was telling him out there.
Could he play anywhere on the line?
Yeah, I haven't seen him play center, but but I mean, yeah, he's played from his time here. He's played literally every position except for center, since he's been here so far. So, which that takes a lot to, be able to play all four positions. That is definitely not an easy thing to do. That just tells you, how hard he's worked, to get better, and be able to play those positions.
It's bittersweet when a guy gets his chance because of somebody else is out, though, right?
Yeah, you definitely hate it for Marcus, a guy who's been playing well this year, and a guy who cares so much. And I want to see him be successful, and I love playing beside him. So I really hate that happened to him, but I know he'll take his recovery serious, and I have no doubt that he'll be better next year, when he's healthy.
Jordan, is that a Santa Clara shirt, and how many times have you worn that?
Oh, this is like my everyday shirt. Like, before practice, I put it on, and it's funny, in the training room, somebody was like, "Dang, you've been here that long to have this hoodie." So they all make fun of me, because of how old this hoodie is. But it's something I wear pretty much every day, honestly.
It's been, I guess, 4 years since you guys played Carolina at home. I mean, what do you sort of expect that atmosphere to be like?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I knew for sure it would be crazy anyway, just because of how our fans show up for any game. But with them obviously beating Tennessee this past weekend, like, I think this will be a great environment. It'll be an early game, but I know our fans will show up, and it'll be an awesome atmosphere.
You mentioned Tennessee, but also Michigan or Ohio State's going to lose. Is it hard not to think about what's happening with the teams in front of you guys as far as the playoff picture and trying to stay in that mix?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, you definitely look around the country at kind of what's going on, but I think my biggest thing, and something that Coach Swinney's been preaching to us, is take care of what we can kind of control from this point on, and if we went out, different things like that, I like where we'll be at, and I think if we do win out, I think things will take care of itself. So just trying to stay focused and finish these last 2 games of the season strong.
Have you been scoreboard watching at all?
What do you mean by that?
Like, as far as watching other teams, how if they win or lose, they're ranked ahead of you guys.
I mean, I definitely have. I've been peeking around the country, kind of seeing what's going on, and but I haven't been getting too caught up in it, because I know like it's college football, and anything can happen. I know we kind of dug ourselves in a hole with that loss at Notre Dame, but like I said, I like our chances if we win out. So, we'll see what happens. But I like our odds.
With it being Thanksgiving, how is it to spend Thanksgiving with the team?
Yeah. I mean, it'll definitely be fun. Just guys you're around all the time, guys you're super close with. So that'll be fun. Luckily, I am, from Spartanburg, an hour away, so I'll get to go home and spend a little bit of time with my family and things like that before Friday. So, it'll be fun to obviously spend some time, with the guys here, but also go see my family a little bit.
What's Jordan McFadden thinking about Thanksgiving at home eating? What stands out for you?
Oh, I mean, of course, all types of food. Thanksgiving's always a tough part for me because I know I have a game on Saturday, but also being an offensive lineman, I want to eat as much food as possible. So it's kind of tough keeping a balance between, eating whatever I want and realizing, you got to go play on Saturday.
What's the can't miss food?
For me, it's my mom's macaroni. Like, that's something that I have to have for Thanksgiving. So.
Any questions for Jordan from Zoom?
Yeah, Jordan, this is Chapel with the state. I know South Carolina has a few big recruits along the defensive line specifically. What have you seen out of that group in preparing for them?
Yeah, I mean, they're long. Like Jordan Branch, he's a tall, long guy. He's quick. Zach Pickens is a big, strong dude as well. Both, highly recruited guys and both, great players. Like I was kind of saying earlier, we got to have a plan for those guys across the D-line and try to slow them down as much as we can. It's definitely going to be a challenge for sure. Like they're grown men. They prepare and they know how to play ball as well. So, we definitely got to have a plan and be ready for a challenge on Saturday.
Anyone else for Jordan?
Here's a random question. I'm writing about Will Putnam. He walks around with sandbags, I guess, at his house. And they him and Walker in the garage, like a gym or whatever in the garage. I mean, what are they like as a pair?
Yeah, I mean, those two together, they're different for sure. They'll butt heads. Like those two, Will Putnam and Walker Parks will argue all the time. Like they live together, they argue all the time, but they also kind of complete each other. Like they're both equally crazy. So they kind of even each other out. Being with those guys is always fun. Like you'll always be laughing if you're with those two for sure.
I guess what's the most random argument?
I don't remember what exactly they were arguing about during like fall camp or maybe spring, but I have no clue what the argument is about. But they were literally yelling at each other in the middle of the field. I have no idea what it's about. When I look at both of them, I'm like, bro, just shut up. They were literally yelling in the middle of the field. I had no clue what it was about, but it was just after the fact, it was kind of funny. So yeah.